The workshop of the City Council of the City of Pleasant, Texas will now come to order. March 4th, 2015, 6:32 p.m. Roll call. Mr. Steins.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Best.
Here.
Mr. Garza.
Here.
Ms. Pacifica.
Here.
Mr. Gagos.
Here.
Right now, we're missing Miss Israel, but she stepped out to get something. We'll be back, and I'll notify you when she's back in. Item number 3 is presentation discussion of revised employee personnel policy manual of the City of Pleasanton.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for allowing us this time to visit with you.
Before you get too deep, I just want to recognize that Miss Israel is with us.
Okay. Rewind. Good evening, Mayor and Council.
And play.
We appreciate the opportunity to visit with you all a little early this evening about this all-important project. Somewhere around about a year ago, 10 months ago, the city embarked, and when I say the city and staff embarked on the possibility of developing a new employee personnel policy manual. Our existing manual was developed in 1988. Many cities have had that manual and revised it many times over. The reason many cities have that manual, it was designed by TML. Our first point of contact was TML, and they do not write personnel policy manuals anymore. As we went from that point forward, we began to look at what cities do we want to review manuals of, as well as our existing manual. We picked 3 cities that fit in the demographic that Pleasanton's in. 2 of them up in the central to North Texas area, or 1 in the central to North Texas area and 1 in the San Antonio area. The cities we picked that fit our demographic was one that has faced rapid growth over the last 25 years, was about the size of Pleasanton that we were 4 years ago, sits with a citizen population around 30,000 today. City is on the cutting edge of their county, considered the anchor in the county and the leader. Another city we picked was a city that's been around a lot of years, like Pleasanton's been. Their population is static. They're at about 15,000, and they pretty much resemble our population today. Employee base, employee staff levels are about the same. Third city we picked was a city close to our same size, one of the leading cities in the suburban area, and has been recognized on many different levels for their employee contributions and the things they do to help their employees. As we began to review these manuals as well as our own, I wanted to segue real quick and thank 2 people to begin with, Mayor and Council. This actually could not have been possible had Helen Martinez not taken the time upon herself 2 years ago to personally type the employee personnel policy manual. We had no electronic record of it. So I want to thank Helen first of all. That was about a 2-day experience. Secondly, we asked Mr. Andreas Aguirre 9 months ago if he would begin an intense review of these 3 city manuals and our manual that I've mentioned, and bring us a first draft of what he felt like was standards in the industry, things that would equip us with the modern trends in the municipal sector, present-day laws, benefits, and accountability. The manual began to take shape. The committee that was appointed by the city manager's office, which is comprised of myself, Mr. Aguirre, Helen Martinez, Ronald Sanchez, Johnny Weezar, and not last but certainly not least, our human resources representative and specialist, Mrs. Lozano. We quickly knew that the manual had to address 3 things: to bring us up to date with the latest trends in the municipal sector and the most recent and up-to-date laws that govern employees and employee actions. It should provide the most benefit for and the most benefit to the employees. And it should also provide the greatest amount of accountability by the employees to our citizens, the city council, and ourselves. Tonight we'll go through some brief explanations about some of the changes in the manual. You all have had the manual for about 9-10 days. I just will remind you that everything in red is either revisions or word changes or things we wanted to promote that were not in the old manual. For instance, we wanted to have a comprehensive smoking and tobacco policy. For instance, we wanted to have a comprehensive, somewhat comprehensive information technology and communication system policy. Everything in black in the draft manual is what was in the existing manual. So a lot of the old manual stayed. A lot of the old manual is good policy, but we had to update. As we go through the chapters with you, we'll tell you what we feel like are significant or notable changes, and we'll tell you why we made the changes. Every change we made fits into one, two, or all three of the parameters I've previously mentioned. Latest laws and trends, benefits for and to the employees, and the most accountability we can hold ourselves to, for the citizens, the council, and ourselves. Chapter 1, there were no big changes in this chapter. There were some changes in format. Substance remained the same, and there were very small incremental visions. I'll now turn it over to Mrs. Lozano.
In Chapter 2, Section 204, Evaluation of Application, the Human Resource Department now screens all applications and determines the most qualified applicants that meet the minimum requirements.
Where are we at?
And we set up an interview panel. This brings us up to date with the latest laws and trends in the public sector. Section 2-07, Types of Appointment, clearly defines the latest trends and brings us up to date in the municipal sector. Section 2-08, Nepotism. The committee felt like we needed to make these positions a part of the nepotism chart. The mayor, any member of the city council, city manager, finance director, human resource specialist, or any position appointed by the city council are the positions in the provision. It brings us up to date with the current municipal sector standards and holds ourselves accountable. Section 212, background checks, to bring us up to date with the latest standards in the municipal sector. Section 2-18, reemployment, clearly defines the proper professional notification for separation of employment is a 2-week written notice. This will bring us up to date with the latest in the municipal sector professional standards and hold ourselves accountable. On to Chapter 3, Section 301, length of probationary period. We extended the probationary period from 6 months to 9 months for regular employees and from 6 months to 12 months for sworn public safety personnel. With this extension and probation, this brings us up to date with the latest standards in the municipal sector and holds ourselves accountable. I'm going to pass it to Cindy.
Chapter 4 is Mrs. Earl Basso going forward.
Okay, in section 4-01, employee pay schedule. In keeping with the mayor's green initiative, no paper checks will be issued. All pay will now, and already is, deposited directly into the employees' bank accounts. This brings us up to date with the latest trends in the municipal sector. In section 4.06, compensation increases. This allows employees to hold themselves accountable and, in keeping with the market study adopted by City Council, provide benefits, experience increases, career development, and certification pay for employees. This hybrid program places Pleasanton at the cutting edge of employee salaries and benefits as well as career development. Pay for performance is in the hands of the employee. In Chapter 5, Section 502, vacation. This provision offers a better vacation leave benefit up front for employees. The incremental incentives in the first years of employment are better, as well as throughout the first 15 years of employment. This benefit brings us up to date with the latest trends in the municipal sector and provides a benefit for and to the employees. For the period of 6 months to 3 years of employment, 12 vacation days are accrued per year. 3+ years to 5 years of employment, 13 vacation days accrued per year. 5+ years to 10 years of employment, 15 vacation days accrued per year. 10+ years to 15 years of employment, 17 vacation days accrued per year. And 15+ years of employment, 20 vacation days accrued per year. As an added benefit, employees will now be able to accumulate up to 60 vacation days instead of 20. This provision brings us up to date with the latest in the municipal sector and provides benefit for and to the employees. Section 503, sick leave. As an added benefit and incentive, employees can earn 3 additional vacation days in January if no sick leave is used during the previous year. This provision also brings us up to date with the latest in the municipal sector and provides a benefit for and to the employees. Section 504, bereavement leave. There have been additions to the definition of family members. An immediate family member is defined as an employee's spouse, child, including foster and step, parents, including current step-parents and current in-laws, siblings, including half and current step, grandparents, grandchildren, or any other person living in the employee's household. As an added benefit, full-time employees will now be granted up to 5 days bereavement leave because sometimes 3 days is just not enough time. This provision brings us up to date with the latest in the municipal sector and provides a benefit for and to the employees. Ronald?
Thank you, Cindy. I feel like a newscaster.
Pass it on.
I feel like a newscaster. Like a newscaster. Now for today's weather. Chapter 6, Mayor, Council, I have chapter 6 through 8, and I'll go through these pretty quick. Section 603, the chapter plan. This will bring us up to date with the latest in the municipal sector and hold ourselves accountable. Section 607, outside employment. There were some minor changes, mainly to bring us up to date in the latest in the municipal sector and to hold ourselves accountable. Section 608, fitness for duty. There was a minor change made in order to reduce any liability incurred by the city. Section 609, personal appearance. A few modifications were made to bring us up to date in the latest in the municipal sector and to hold ourselves accountable. Section 6-10, identification badges. This too will bring us up to date with the latest in the municipal sector. Section 6-16, arrests and indictments against employees. It shall be required that any employee or volunteer who is arrested or indicted shall report this information to his or her supervisor within 1 working day. This supervisor will then notify the department head, who will notify the city manager. This will bring us up to date with the latest in the municipal sector and hold ourselves accountable. Chapter 7 is a new chapter that we did not have in our old employee handbook. This was an addition because, as we all know, with electronic internet, social media and everything, so we felt this was necessary to be a chapter all in its own. And section 701, use of city computers, internet access, and electronic mail. We've set up some parameters, so this will bring us up to date with the latest in the municipal sector and hold ourselves accountable. Chapter 8, section 803, types of disciplinary action. Probation is not to exceed 180 calendar days, during which time the employee's performance and behavior will be monitored very closely by the supervisor. This too will bring us up to date in the latest in the municipal sector and hold ourselves accountable. Section 8-08, complaints. This process will now be in alignment with the city charter, and it will bring us up to date with the latest in the municipal sector and hold ourselves accountable.
Okay, I have chapter 9, 10, and 11.
Who are you?
I'm Johnny Weezer.
Okay, great.
Sportscaster, Johnny.
Section 901, resignation, and section 902, abandoning job, had minor changes to bring us up to date on the latest trends in the municipal sector and hold ourselves accountable. Section 905, retirement, explains the retirement benefits and incentive, which brings us up to date on the latest laws and trends in the municipal sector. In chapter 10, we had no major changes, but it brings us up to date on the latest laws, trends in municipal sectors, and hold ourselves accountable. Chapter 11, life insurance, added benefit of a secondary life insurance. This brings us up to the date on the latest trends and municipal sector and provides a benefit for and to the employees. On section 1103, workers' compensation, this brings us up to date on the laws, latest laws and trends in the municipal sector. And for section 1107, this is the leave pool. This is a provision that was added to bring us up to date with the latest trends in the municipal sector and provide a benefit for and to the employees and to hold ourselves accountable. It was passed by ordinance by the City Council recently.
Okay, I'm Helen Martinez, and I have chapters 12 and 13. Chapter 12-04, meal allowances. It eliminates the need for receipts for meals and tips and establishes a flat per diem rate based on the number of nights spent according to the nationally recognized website, www.gsa.gov. If the travel requires an overnight stay and a full day or full days are involved, the employee will be allowed a daily amount for meals. This brings us up to date on the latest trends in the municipal sector and provides a benefit for and to the employees while reducing a cumbersome amount of administrative work. 12-05, lodging. Advance payments for lodging associated with official city business can now be paid whenever authorized by the city manager or city council. Payment for lodging is based on actual expenditure of lodging. This brings us up to date on the latest trends in the municipal sector. Chapter 13-03, use of city vehicles. Any form of tobacco or any device that produces smoke or vapor is not allowed in city-owned vehicles or equipment. Also, the Accident Review Committee was added to determine whether accidents incurred by city personnel driving city-owned vehicles or equipment were preventable or non-preventable. This provision was added to bring us up to date with the latest trends in the municipal sector, provide a benefit for and to the employees, and to hold ourselves accountable. 13-08, take-home vehicles. This allows those that are subject to 24-hour, 7-day emergency call and do not reside within 20 minutes of the corporate limits of the city of Pleasanton to be compensated mileage for emergency response outside of normal working hours. This provision was added to bring us up to date with the latest trends in the municipal sector, providing benefit for and to the employees, and to hold ourselves accountable.
Chief Sanchez.
Chapter 14-0, section 14-01, drug and alcohol policy. This provision was added to bring us up to date with the latest trends in the municipal sector, provide a benefit for and to the employees, and to hold ourselves accountable. And Chapter 15, Section 15-14, tobacco use and smoking in the workplace. The city has now established a comprehensive tobacco and smoking policy. This provision was added to bring us up to date with the latest trends in the municipal sector, provide a benefit for and to the employees, to hold ourselves accountable, and to place the city of Pleasanton firmly with a declaration of a healthy work environment.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Committee. Mayor, I'd like to just recap a couple of important issues. We allowed ourselves 20 minutes, and we're pretty close to it. There may be some questions about the use of city computers. I wanted to relay to you what was important to the committee. We realize, even though a lot of cities and a lot of public agencies and private companies have a no personal use clause for the computers and the telecommunications and the internet, we know that's not achievable. Our world is too connected. So we put at the very top of that chart, of that 616, well, I'm wrong, hold on. We put at the very top of 701, 702, that an employee may occasionally use the information technology system, but it is not to be excessive or abused. Okay? We know people are going to use it. You can't stop it, but it's not to be excessively used. The next one I want to mention is the complaints. As Chief Sanchez and the committee talked about it, you all took that complaint section out of the previous personnel policy manual because it was in direct opposition with the charter. The committee had a lot of discussions about this. The committee went back and forth. In the end, we felt like that an employee ought to have an avenue to the city manager's office if they had not resolved their conflicts at the lowest supervisory level. So we put that section in there. 905 retirement is just in line with what you all passed 3 years ago. Let me jump back a minute. Vacations. I know this may be a little bit of a deliberative comment. This is what other cities are doing. It adds, as Mrs. Urabaso said, a little more incentive up front. But in the end, at 15 years, it's still 20 vacation days, which is what we have now. There has been tremendous success realized where the sick leave component is concerned for those who use no sick leave during the year to get 3 additional vacation days. Research has shown that all of a sudden doctor's appointments are made at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, not 10 o'clock in the morning, in vacation time. Or doctor's appointments or dental appointments are made at 8 in the morning. That incentive provides for more productivity. The added benefit of adding 60 days or proclaiming 60 days vacation bank instead of 20 was strictly for the benefit of the employee in the event something of a, I don't want to say tragic or catastrophic, but a sudden event that would cause the employee to be out. And I'll give you an example. Heart surgeries, hip, knee replacements, these types of surgeries with the present policy of 30 days sick leave and 20 days vacation is not enough. What if we have an employee who's been dependable? What if we have that employee who has done everything they can? And the doctor tells them, you're going to be out 12 weeks. We recently had a case where an employee was out 8 weeks. 3 months later, they were informed, we've got to go back in. It's going to be a minimum of 12 this time. So we added that as a benefit for and to the employees, and it's more in line with what's going on in the municipal sector. The bereavement leave with our global economy and folks having family members all over the place and spread out statewide and nationwide, even if they're not that far away, 3 days is just not enough if you're the primary one that has to take care of the business affairs for the funeral and after the funeral. That was the reason for that one. Moving on real quickly to Chapter 11, the life insurance policy is something that was passed by the council in summer 2012. The leave pool is something that was passed by ordinance by the council. The meal allowances, the reason we want to go to a per diem, that's a nationally recognized site. Depending on what city you go to, there's a certain amount of money. You do what you want to with it. Right now, the way things have been, they bring receipts back, POs are cut, the department heads sign off, Helen scrutinizes it to the limit. Are we really doing meals? Are we doing fine dining? And by the time we cut a check for an employee for $120 being gone 3 or 4 days or whatever it is, we've spent about $400 or $500 in administrative time doing it. This is the latest trend in the municipal sector. Take-home vehicles, we really kind of had a loose take-home vehicle policy. We feel like that policy should state that any employee that lives within 20 minutes of the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city of Pleasanton and is subject to emergency call may have the right with the department head and the city manager to take that vehicle home. One thing that we feel like puts us on the cutting edge is there's also a provision in there that if there is an employee subject to emergency recall that lives outside that area and they get called in the middle of the night, we'll pay them the 56.5 cents. Is that what it is?
0.575.
0.575 per mile to drive to work and to drive back home because we called them out after hours. That compensates those employees that live outside this boundary area. Quickly, Chapter 14, as the chief said, the previous tobacco policy just talked about smoking. Now we have dipping, chewing, vaping. That's why we put any form of tobacco or form of an electronic device that produces smoke or vapor. We feel like this puts us on the cutting edge of providing a healthy work environment. It also promotes a level of safety in those vehicles while folks are driving around. Mayor, that's all we have. I'll stand for any questions or comments at this time.
Question or comments?
Mayor?
Cicero.
Awesome job.
Thank you.
I'm sure everybody feels the same way I do. It can be done better than to be done by employees. I mean, to be able to take charge of that yourself and develop something that that not only do you feel good about, you have pride in abiding. And I'm just very proud of y'all, like normal. So good job.
Mayor, I might add also as an additive to this, Mr. Maldonado reviewed this for over a month. He found 2 grammatical errors and 1 misspelling, and I said, is there anything substantive? Not at all. It's straight, it's contrite, it's to the point, but it's all inclusive. We've spent about $13,000 in staff time putting this together. Our estimations, if we'd have hired a consultant, which we might not have gotten everything we wanted out of it, would have been somewhere in the neighborhood of $35,000 to $50,000 to put this together. So my hat is off to the commission. Thank you so much.
Mayor, I would like to say also to comment that I'm really proud of this ladies and gentlemen that did this wonderful, hard-working job. Took them time, and they did their best, to my knowledge. I've had some talks with certain people within, and I'm amazed. And we discussed some issues like Mr. Pierce is presenting us tonight, telling us what did transpired and everything. So I want to congratulate y'all for doing a wonderful job. And let's keep
Thank you,
on
Mr.
doing
Sang.
it.
Thank
I'm a very, very satisfied council member of the city. Thank you all.
Sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, if
Other
there's no
questions,
if there's no questions or other comments, I would like to formally ask that the person that took the lead on this present the options and the formal recommendation from the staff, Mr. Aguirre.
Okay.
So Council D, your options are to, number 1, direct city staff to bring the draft City of Pleasanton Employee Personnel Policy Manual before the city in the form of an ordinance at the March 19, 2015 meeting for consideration and adoption. 2, direct city staff to bring the draft City of Pleasanton Employee Personnel Policy Manual before the City Council with amendments in the form of an ordinance at the March 19, 2015 meeting for consideration and adoption. 3, direct city staff to not bring the draft City of Pleasanton Employee Personnel Policy Manual before the City Council in the form of an ordinance at the March 19, 2015 meeting for consideration and adoption. Our recommendation is to direct city staff to bring the draft City of Pleasanton Employee Personnel Policy Manual before the City Council in the form of an ordinance at the March 19, 2015 meeting for consideration and adoption.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to item 4, which is direction to city staff to bring an ordinance before the City Council adopting the revised City of Pleasanton Employee Personnel Policy Manual.
Mayor,
Mr. Gagos.
I move to approve to direct the city staff to bring a draft City of the Pleasanton Employee Personnel Policy Manual before the City Council in the form of an ordinance at the March 19th, 2015 meeting for consideration and adoption.
Second.
All right, I'm losing it. Somebody have it pulled up, the thing? Let me read it.
It's right here.
Would you pass it down, please? Did I skip it? Yeah, I did. All right, it's been moved and seconded to direct city staff to bring a draft City of Pleasanton Employee Personnel Handbook Manual, or Policy Manual, before the City Council in the form of an ordinance at the March 19, 2015 meeting for consideration and adoption. Any discussion? None. We'll proceed to the vote. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'd like to thank Mr. Best for calling out something to us Monday. Thank you, Mr. Best.
Item number 5.
Thank you.
Item number 5.
I move to adjourn.
Moved second, we adjourn. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Meeting is adjourned at 7:01 PM. We will.